In this video, I'm going to show you a very important blockade technique about how to plot an efficient course to the points. Now, to enable me to do this, I've basically got two internet windows open. So I'm using Google Chrome here, and I've got just a normal window open, and I've also used an incognito window, which just allows me to sign in twice to the same game. Something that can cause quite a big difference in blockades is how fast you get to the points. Most of the time in a blockade, there are two ships on a cluster of flags, and they're usually being neutralised. The time you can get the most points and really get a big advantage is when there's only one ship on that cluster. So that means if you influence that flag one turn before the other person, you get that entire cluster to yourself. Okay, so here, if I take a brief look around the map, I can try and identify where the good clusters are at the start. Now, this isn't the focus of this video, but I can see there's a 4-point cluster here, and I can instantly see there's a 5-point cluster here. So this is where I'm going to be targeting. Now, if this was a real blockade, and I was island side, sorry, I was a defender, then the advantage here would be that I can choose where along this starting line I begin from. So if I demonstrate with an oceanside example, say that this was the favourable cluster, if I continually disengage, I can choose where I start. Now in a blockade you might not be able to do it as many times as this, but you will be able to do it. I'm going to decide where the best way is to get onto these points. So the most important thing to think about after you've gotten the best position from disengaging along this line, which again, if you think about it, if you started here compared to say here, now that's 2 or 3 turns to span that distance. So it really does make a huge difference. Always disengage to the best position possible and do it so that you can get an advantage over the other player. Now here, the thing that I'm instantly seeing is these winds. So this is quite an obvious example. I go left, right, forward. I say it's an obvious example, but clearly there, look, I've already made a slight mistake. So if I took my left, right, forward, then I would be on this square here, making my way towards the wind. But if you think about it, then how am I going to actually get onto that wind? Well, the answer is I'll go left, right, right, but then I'll be facing to the left. So if I'm facing to the left, going down these winds, we want to get to this point. So if I take left, right, forward, I can instantly see that my path is not optimal. However, if I go left, forward, right, then I can see that I've got a much better orientation going into these winds. You know, I'm facing forwards, so I'm still grabbing these 2 points as I come in and these points here potentially, but I'm setting myself up for a much better orientation of my ship to be able to hit these 3 points over here. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get as many of these points on the way as possible. So don't forget, it's not just about getting to your location, it's also about picking up what you can on the way. So while these points down here are not specifically what I'm after, I am going to pick up at least this point at the bottom on one of my intermediary moves, like I'm going to just now. So there you see, look, I've got my 2 points here and my 2 points at the bottom. And more importantly, I've also set up my orientation. You see, I didn't just go forward and then go left. Then go left, yep. I went left into the wind first, so I'm already nicely set up. So if you can see my defensive position here, it's going to make it a lot harder for someone to follow me down this line of wind. So it's not just about you getting to the points fast, it's about stopping the other person getting to the points fast. So if you look here, if you imagine you were turned behind me because you, say, took the wrong approach, or you approached from over here, you're not going to turn into these winds, right? You're going to either come along the whirlpool, or you're going to take the wrong orientation so that you're broadsiding me. You're not going to risk coming in head on, or you are going to take shots. So that buys me either a couple of turns sitting where I am, or it just slows down the other person, so that I can then take a turn and I can get to this hotspot square right just here. Now I'll cover hotspots and delaying the other person in other videos as I upload them later on. Now, to avoid the risk of rambling too much in one video, I'm going to cut this video short just there, and I'll make another video with a few more examples of how to approach your flag cluster.